All right, we are back once again. Now, I tried to find a quiet space to record this, and then my daughter and my dog showed up. So, what's a guy to do? So, we're going to continue on with part two of the Jason Mayo episode, where the fabulous Jason Mayo continues on with his interview, talking about all things wonderful that are Jason. The other thing that's interesting is that we got some new swag. If you're interested in some Radio Free Norfolk swag, contact us because we got it now. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is my daughter told me that I'm super cool because I'm on the YouTube algorithm now. So we are completely legit.
And I'm really I'm so glad I got that part. So glad. It was great.
When I heard he was going to do that one after Mary Poppins,
Yeah.
I thought, okay, that's fantastic. The next one is, where do you go from that?
Well, and we said that too, right? Like, it's that idea of if you continue on with musicals that appeal to children as well, like, there are so few that carry weight, right? And that will also, adults will want to come see them, right? The adults were laughing just as hard as the kids. Actually, I think for Wizard of Oz, the adults were so pumped because that's such nostalgia.
I know that I was sat next to several people who, when the numbers started happening, they started crying. And the grandkids are there kind of looking at the grandparents like, why are you crying? It was just like the child comes racing back to them.
Yeah. Jan, lovely Jan. Love you, Jan Rainey. You're a sweet, sweet darling. I've talked about you already tonight. You are my favorite. Jan would come and watch when we would go into Tableau for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Jan would come and watch. I could see her out of the corner of my eye because I was always facing this way and she was right over there. And she would come and watch every night. Every night. She would stand there just entranced as Libby would move across the stage, and just we would all be frozen and people would just relive that moment on that farm. And there were people in the audience crying.
Yep.
Right? And that's like 5 minutes into the show. But that to me is the power of a beautiful performance. You know, when you can do something like that and bring back those memories for people and make them feel. Right? That was my drama exam this year. And I said to the kids, this is my drama exam every year from this point forward. And they're like, what is it? And I said, make me feel something. You know? However you do that, make it happen. And I think that's what we do. And that's what you and I have done together on stage. And I think that's what our job really is to make people feel things when we're up there.
It's nice that we have people locally that get that. I mean, I've done community theater where they don't get it, and here we're blessed. Now,
I've seen community theater where they don't get it.
Now, I have been waiting for this part of the interview.
Oh, Lord.
I want to talk about food TV.
Okay.
Because
The
this has
nitty-gritty.
always fascinated me.
The nitty gritty.
Okay, so I'll let you go because I don't know anything about this, but like, how did you even, how'd you find it? What got you into it? And give us the dirt.
So, for those of you who don't know, I am currently the only person in Canada to ever compete twice on MasterChef Canada. A bit of this is a sad story, John. So I hope you're ready for this.
I'm ready.
At 30 years old.
I'm eating off my charcuterie.
Yes, please eat your charcuterie. I made John a lovely charcuterie because, you know, you have guests. You got to make them something.
This is half the reason why I did the interview.
Yeah. My parents had both passed away. I was 30 years old. So I was an orphan at 30. It was a tough time. I was really sad. And Dover was closing. It was dying slowly. So I was like, that was the third reel. Like, and so it was a time. And I was sitting home watching television, watching actually the U.S. version of MasterChef, which I'd always loved. I thought it was interesting. You know, Gordon Ramsay is crazy and yells at people, and I love that. And I see an ad for, if you could think you could do this, apply for MasterChef Canada. And I was like, what? And I see this ad and I was like, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should apply for this show. And I hummed and hawed about it. And I said to myself, you need to do this. You don't have a lot of time. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, a life lived without risks is a life really not lived. So I looked at that as an opportunity. I had learned to cook for my mom. And so it was a way to pay tribute to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm going to apply. So I apply. Do the application, typing out, describe yourself in one word. And I said Frank. And I said, hilariously, it's also my middle name. So, which it is. And, like my response questions were fun and like witty, right? Quoted like RuPaul's Drag Race a few times, and that'll come in a second. And I'm not kidding you. I submit that application. 1 hour later, I get a phone call. And I'm like, hello? And they're like, hey, this is Dean calling from MasterChef Canada. We just wanted to talk to you about your application. And then he called me on the RuPaul's Drag Race stuff. And we were laughing about it. And then we started talking about that show. And he's like, I can't talk about that. I'm working for another network now. Like, we'll talk about that later. And I was like, okay. So then, like, we had a great conversation. We talked for like an hour on the phone, right? And he's like, I'm going to put you on a list. I want you to come to Toronto on this day, and you're going to audition. He's like, make something that can stand the heat and that you can plate in 2 minutes. I'll send you all the details. So I'm like, so this is the worst part, though, John. The audition is during the week I'm going camping. So meanwhile, I'm driving back and forth camping. So I'm like, go camping during the day, sleep over at night, come back, prep some stuff for the audition, drive back.
Oh,
Yeah. The night before I got to go to the audition, I made sushi. So my audition dish was sushi. I'd never made sushi before. So, and this is typical for me. I like to just do it. I want to learn something, I'm going to do it. We'll struggle through it. If it doesn't work, we'll improve it for next time. So I bring the sushi to the campground. Okay, and like all my friends love sushi. And I'm like, try it. Tell me if it's good. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Perfect. I said, okay, well, I got to go to the audition. I'm not going to sleep I'm not going to sleep in a tent the day before an audition. I'm going to come home and sleep at home. So I get up at 4 a.m, get all my stuff is packed, go there. I'm there for 6 o'clock. Okay. Get through the audition day. There's 3 phases. You go into a room first, like with like 50 other people. You have 2 minutes to plate your dish. And then you wait while they come around and taste it and ask you questions. So I have this beautiful plated dish. There's this 5-piece sushi platter. Okay. And a Chinese pickle. For a little extra, just Chinese pickle. Okay. The woman, the head culinary judge, walks by. She's a Southern lady. She's looking. She looks. She takes a plastic fork. What's in here? And I tell her, what's in here? So that she knows it's not store-bought sushi, right? What's in here? What did you do here? Okay. What's this? This is Chinese pickle. She looked at me. She takes the fork. She takes this piece of pickled daikon radish. She puts it in her mouth. And she's staying there. She looks at me. Then she's like, okay. Writes something down, turns the sheet over, walks away. Didn't eat any of the sushi. I'm like,
What?
I spent hours perfecting this, right? Get on. So then they call the numbers. So you're a number, right? I was number 3. They call the number. Well, I was the 3rd person called. I was like, phew, I must have done okay, right? So you go on to this interview portion. So then it's like a person interviewing you like you're on TV, right? So I do that. Get through to that. Then I go into the psych testing. Yes. 4 psych tests. 1 hour of psych testing.
Really?
No joke. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll be in touch. So I didn't think anything about it, right? Well, I did think something about it, but you know, it's summer, I'm off, it's busy. And it was the night I was having a dinner party. I was having 12 people over for a Tweet Folks dinner party. And an hour before the dinner party, my phone starts to ring, and I think it's someone canceling, right? And I turn my phone over, and it's a 416 number. And I'm like, what? Who's calling me from Toronto? And I was like, no. And I pick up the phone, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, this is Allison from MasterChef. And I was like, no. I was like, don't you even. And she's like, well, you made it. And I was like, no. Right? And I was just like, and I was gushing, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, you can't tell anybody, but like, we'll be in touch with more information. I'm like, okay. I put the phone down. There's like stuff cooking on the stove, right? I'm running around my house. I'm by myself. I'm running around my house screaming and crying. I'm like, ah! And then I have to do this dinner party for 12 people, and I can't even say anything. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm brimming. I'm like, right? Like I have all this excitement. And my friend Rhonda was there. And after the dinner party's over, I said, can you just stay for a second? She's like, yeah. And then everyone leaves. And I said, okay, can you just sit down for a second? And she was like, what? I was like, I just need to say this. I was like, you can't tell anybody. I was like, but I'm going to be on MasterChef Canada. And she was like, and then I was like, I just needed to like unleash it onto somebody else, right? And so I went, and that was an interesting experience. The first season was much different than the second one, like the 4th one that I went on. It was not what I expected. Reality TV is an interesting creature. There's so much going on that as a viewer, you never think of those things. But like, it's a lot of hurry up and wait, which is very much similar to the theater, right? So that's why I'm very patient. If we have to wait, if it's not my scene, I'm good. I'll sit down. I'm good. I know. Like, I've went through that. Like, that's all that TV filming is. And so it was really interesting to see the process, right? Didn't work out well. Was kicked off on the second day. That's okay. I was still part of the original 50.
Yep.
Which is good. Made a soup dish, which I still think is like the greatest soup ever. I had 1 yes, 2 no's, so I didn't make it through. I then continued to apply every year because I was kind of hooked, right? It was that. Made it through the whole process year 2. Made it through the whole process year 3. Year 3, I said, I'm done. After this, I said, if you don't take me, I'm gonna be good. We're gonna call it a day, and we're gonna be okay, right? Year 4, I apply again. You know, with some prompting, I apply again, and
They prompted you, or someone else?
Someone prompted me.
Somebody prompted you.
And so I applied again. Went in there, had like my food had changed. Like, I was able to do so much more because you know me, I'm always learning, so I'm always doing new things. Plating was good. There was a girl 2 people down from me, and I looked at her and we talked and we laughed, and I looked at her and I said, you're gonna make it. And she said, what? I said, you're gonna make it. I said, there's no one in this room that knows more about this whole thing than me. I said, you got it. She's like, you're crazy. I said, nope, you're in. I said, and so am I. And then I pointed back, like 3 rows back, and I said, and so is he. And she was like, "You're crazy. How do you know this?" I said, "You'll see." And so I get the call. As I was leaving that day, I looked at the girl who called me the first season. And I said, "If I make this, you better be the one making the call." I said, "It'll be like an anniversary thing for us." And sure enough, a month later, the phone rang. It was a 416 number again. And I picked up the phone, and I didn't even pause. I said, "Allison, is this you?" And she said, "Yeah, it is." And I was like, "All right, here we go." And I was ready, right? I was ready. It was a good time. Did the filming stuff at the school. That was actually really cool because they filmed my drama class. So there was filming at the school for season 4. They brought this box. I didn't know any about this stuff, right? So like, I knew they were coming, but I didn't know what they were doing. So it's September. I'm dressed in actually Mrs. Corey's jacket. I'm all dressed up, sweating, right? Like, please just get this filming done so I can put a t-shirt back on. And I didn't realize I was going to be running through the halls. The one-liners they caught during filming were hilarious. I'm like running down a hall. I'm like, "I didn't know I was a PE teacher," you know, like, and then so going into the foods room because we had to find the food at the school to use to make our dish, right? And running into the foods room, it's like the second day of school. No, it must have been second week of school, right? And new foods teacher. She's never been there before. The other one just retired. So everything's cleaned out of the foods room, right? I walk in. I run in. Don't even walk. I'm running in. Cameras are following me. She's in the middle of like a lesson. She's like, and I'm like, "I'm going to be on MasterChef Canada. I need to raid your fridge. Do you have any meat?" And she's like, she looks and she's like, "I think there's some hot dogs back there." And I screamed and I said, "I'm not going to win MasterChef with hot dogs." And I run out of the cafe and I go right to the cafeteria. And Jen from the cafeteria hooks me up, right? And the kids got to see the filming process. So like for a drama class, that was really cool.
Yeah.
We only ever did 3 takes of something. They saw that too. Like, that company only ever believes in doing 3 takes because after the 3rd take, it's no longer going to be genuine, right? It's going to be too forced.
Mm-hmm.
Arrive on day 1. I was the first person there. It was quite early. I drove myself. I showed up before production. So I was having a coffee, stood out, had a coffee, waited for them to show up. They showed up. I know most of them because they were on the first season. I said, "Hey, how's it going?" They're like, "Good. You can come in." I said, "No, I'm just going to wait for a second. I'm just going to have this coffee. Just enjoy this peace and quiet for the next, like," I thought I was going to go all the way. So like for the next month, right? And then the other people started to show up. And then that girl showed up. And she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, "Told you." And she was just like, "How did you know?" And I was like, "You have it." And then lo and behold, taxi pulls up. Out comes that guy. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You got what it takes." You know? And she made it, I think, top 8. She went far. We still talk. Like, I was just at her house last week. And it's like, it's interesting because you kind of like, that's the thing with reality TV is I started to figure it out, right? Like, that's a blessing and a curse because when you know too much, it's kind of not good, right? And, but it was easy to see like certain things. Like, this is probably going to happen. This is going to happen. My episode on season 4 was great. I had a lot of camera time. I think the public loved me. It was good. It was really, I was more myself as well.
Right.
Like, I was less trying to be prim and proper and, you know, like a good representative of the school board. And I was more like, because that's what people said. They were like, you can't be cuckoo because parents are going to see that too. And you don't want to, like, you got a reputation to maintain, right? And I do. So parents are a little more understanding now, so I can go a little more cuckoo now. You know how I do on social media. But I learned a lot. It was a frustrating process. I thought I was going to go much further. A couple of days after, the producer called, asked me if I was okay. It was a rough exit.
Mm-hmm.
I was really upset. I cried a lot. I laughed on the way home because I realized, you know what? It's a TV show, right? And she called, the main producer called like 2 days later. Are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm good. And she was like, you sure? And I said, yep. I said, because I realized something. And she said, what's that? And I said, I don't need a white apron. I said, I wanted a white apron. And that's what you get if you move on, right? I said, I know I'm great. I don't need that for that. I said, I'm doing okay. You know? And now I have moved on, and I am the food and drink ambassador for Norfolk County.
Yes, you are.
I am hosting Blog Norfolk videos. I'm hosting business symposiums. I'm doing guest speaking. I'm doing kitchen takeovers. I'm doing all these pop-ups. I'm doing more with food than half the people who got white aprons and never won are doing.
Yeah.
So I'm a success, baby. Like I took it. I said this at the first, the unveiling of my food and drink ambassador title. I said, losing on reality television was the best thing to ever happen to my life. You know, Bianca Del Rio, she's a drag queen that won RuPaul's Drag Race. And I met her. I've met her multiple times. And we talked about reality TV. And she said, honey, it's what you make of it. And that's the same with any performance.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought it was terrible, you made it that way. You got to take what you got and make the most out of it. So if you get 30 seconds of fame, run with it. You get 30 minutes of fame, run with it. You know, milk it for what it's worth. And when it's done, it's done. You know, don't be bitter about it. Make what you can from it. And so I learned a lot from that, right? Like that really, it was a time, and it was hard mentally. The first time was terrible mentally. Like no one was prepared for that. I came home, I sobbed. Like my friends were there. They watched me not get an apron, right? Like that was a tough time. I lost it off camera. They cleared the set. I was like hysterical. And I remember coming home and just crying, you know? I remember waking up. That was the worst part. I woke up. I had already gotten used to the schedule because I'd wake up at 4. I'd go down, have like 2 cigarettes, come up, shower, get ready, get dressed, wake up my roommate, go down, smoke, and then eat breakfast, get on the bus, right? So when the alarm went off at 4 and I rolled over and I wasn't in the hotel room, and I just started to cry, right? And then I didn't cook for a month. I didn't cook for a whole month. I wouldn't cook. I wouldn't enter the kitchen. I wouldn't. My roommates had to do all the cooking. I said no. I wouldn't do it. It was like PTSD, really. And like, I don't think anyone prepares themselves for that. And I think the show didn't understand that as well because they were so fresh. Like they didn't prepare anyone for that. But I think that's like a solid lesson when you go into any new experience is to have a little grit ready. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like tenor, I had already experienced this. So I was like, if this doesn't go well, you got 3 weeks to get it under control. So get it under control. But luckily, it went great.
Oh, you had good people
there you go,
there.
right? So it was good. But that's reality TV in a nutshell.
Wow.
Would I do it again? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you like you're going to actively search it out?
No, not going to spoil anything.
Uh-oh.
But I am currently in the audition process for another TV show. So, and I'm waiting to hear about that.
Oh,
when I know, maybe I'll be able to tell you.
Oh, I like this.
But something different. So
what's next?
Oof.
Now, one thing I asked the other actors, actresses is, so you Mary Poppins, top of the list. Yep. What are some other roles that if came up, I want the list.
Okay, so Nara played it really safe on this, and I was like, girl, please. You want a list? I'm gonna give you a list. I thought about this ever since I listened to last week's episode. First and foremost, Ursula, Little Mermaid. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. I already was Ursula at this year's Rainbow Ball, Grand Erie's Rainbow Ball.
yes.
The wig, the bodice, made the skirt.
Uh,
I was living the fantasy. Made the necklace. I got the whole outfit ready. They don't even need to costume me. I'm already ready. Would love to play that. We'll get the drag rolls out of the way first. If there was ever a Mrs. Doubtfire musical,
ooh, that would be...
I would love to play Mrs. Doubtfire. Love.
We're gonna have to write this if it doesn't.
Please. It would be so fun. I think "Drive By Fruiting" is a song. Could you imagine? Like it'd be great. There were more. Oh, last drag roll, Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd.
Oh, yes. I can see that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, would love that. I will make those pies any day. You know, and I think I would be the right amount of creepy and the right amount of funny. I think, and like I can look haggard. You just put me in a shawl, whatever. You know, put a little babushka wig on me, and we're good to go. Doesn't have to be Helen Bonham Carter, sexy kind of style. I can just be, because most of the times when you see it performed on stage, she's actually just an old woman.
Yeah.
So I could do that. I could rock old lady chic, right? Look at my house. So those are the female roles. There was talk that the Lighthouse was going to do Aladdin for this next show, but it fizzled.
Oh, no.
Well, thank God. No, I thought that was going to be too big. Plus, the movie had just come out, so I thought it was like too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that was a pipe dream that some people really wanted.
It's a big, it would be a big undertaking, yeah.
I would love to be the genie.
I could easily see that.
I would love to be the genie. I think that would be such a fun role. Because that's like super campy, like huge, like, you know. And I kept joking to JP. I said, "Are you gonna be Aladdin? You're gonna need a tan. You could need a tan. You could be a real skinny Aladdin." And I was like, maybe Jafar. And then what else? If a theater was gonna do Guys and Dolls, I would maybe audition for the role of Nicely, because I think that's a good role too, right?
That'd be cool if they did that locally. It's been a while since we've done any of the theaters have done anything like that locally.
Yeah, something classic, you know.
Yeah.
Or this may surprise you, Little Shop of Horrors. I would want to be Audrey too.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah,
I would love
not Mushnik. That's a you thing, I think. That or Seaboard, but I think you'd be a good Mushnik. I would love to be Audrey too. I think that's a great role.
If someone remounts that, I will go to audition with that.
Yeah.
I've never done a musical. I've just my whole
I
career.
know, because you're hesitant.
Well,
You gotta let it go, John.
there was a musical at the Lighthouse that I was really considering, and I was thinking about going into vocal training with my wife over like to prep me, but then I hemmed and I hawed, and anyways,
I know.
if that one came up, I would definitely, because that would be so much fun.
What part would you want though?
Honestly,
Yeah.
the dentist.
So creepy.
But just because
Have you seen it at Stratford though? It's on at Stratford right now.
I haven't gone to. I want to go see it at Stratford. Have you been to that one yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that was the same man that played Frankenfurter
Oh.
in Rocky Horror. Now, if we were going to do Rocky Horror, I'd want to be the narrator.
I'm just kind of surprised that Derek hasn't done that one yet.
I think it's because it's too sexy.
Oh.
It's really sexy.
Well, he was gonna
It's racy.
Well, he was gonna do the zombie one. Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then pulled out because it's yet again racy. Right?
No, I think the reason.
Well,
why
the talent wasn't like you needed younger talent too.
he came to some people and the people said, "Well, we have reputations locally, and it was gonna be really hard." And I think
just so we're clear, I didn't care about my reputation.
He was kind of bummed. He really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He really wanted to do
I
it.
still think we should. I think it should be a 3-show or a 6-show run at Halloween time.
He would. I think he was gonna have a splash zone too.
Yeah,
like, oh,
splatter
good.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, you just get soaked. The one in Toronto, they have sprinklers over top of you, and you just get drenched. Just drenched in fake blood. And then they came out with super soakers at the end and just hit you even harder. They were like, it was so good. It was so good. I was not in the splash zone. I'm too pretty for that.
So we got your secret thing that you're auditioning for. Are you any other plays, anything up lined up yet?
No. You know me. I audition for the community show at the Lighthouse because it really fits with my schedule. Other than that,
It's awful glorious over there.
it's also great there. I also direct the school play, so it works out for me during that time.
Do we know what play they're doing next year at Lighthouse? Do you?
Perhaps I'll tell you off air.
Okay, I like that.
Is in consideration. Anyways.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, we are out of time.
We are.
But I wanted to thank you for coming on. I was really looking forward to this interview, so I'm glad to sit down with you. And I finally get to see the place.
Yes, in my maison.
And then we're gonna have to after we're gonna have to turn all this off and I have to find out all the other stuff I can't find out now.
Oh yes, that's true.
All right.
That's true.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John. It's been a pleasure.